What are you doing, Mason?
Getting a toasted strudel. Yum yum. Toasted strudel.
I say we're doing a video and then you go in the kitchen and pick yourself a pastry. Just be a second, we're just waiting for Mason to join us here shortly.
10 trillion years later. I'm back.
Are you done?
Yeah.
You want to show everybody what took so long? Alright guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Brandon. I like making YouTube videos. This is Mason. He likes ruining YouTube videos. Today, we're going to be showing you some footage from a few years ago.
Eat it.
So here's a little bit of a history lesson. About 9 months ago, we made a video where we bought two dirt bikes. We bought a CRF 50 and we bought a SSR 70 for two reasons. One, so the boys could get some experience and ride some beginner entry-level bikes. And two, so that we could do a comparison video and compare the two and see which one was better. Okay, Mason, can you please stop? So the Honda CRF 50 is kind of like the staple in entry-level dirt bikes. I'd say more people have started on that bike than any other bike because it's been around forever. Throughout the 70s and 80s and even 90s, there wasn't a lot of competition. Sure, there was like the PW50 and the DR50, but most people started out riding on a CRF 50, including myself. I had a 1984 Z50 is what it was called back in the day, the Z50. I used to tear it up on that thing.
Want another bike?
That bike was pretty much designed for kids. Somewhere around the mid-90s, people started riding them as pit bikes, meaning they would go to the races, they'd have their race bike, and then they would just have a little Z50 to ride around the pits in between motos. And eventually they started having races. They would have races as a novelty race, and then that evolved to aftermarket companies started making parts to make the CRF 50 bigger and faster and easier to ride. And then somewhere, I'd say around the mid 2000s, other companies started doing the same thing, and they would make imitation CRF 50s, or as some people call them, knockoff CRF 50s. And the thing that I always wondered is, how did they compare? These bikes are a lot cheaper, but they're pretty much mimicking the CRF 50. I had a hard time finding any videos on YouTube comparing the two, so I thought I would make one myself. We bought a CRF 50, we bought an SSR 70, which is, I think, probably one of the best of the knockoffs. And then we compared the two, including a drag race that we did between my two sons on the two bikes, which I'll show you here in a second. But first, Mason, come here.
I'm bored.
Well, how do you think the viewers feel?
Bored.
Okay, so you got to ride the two bikes, the SSR 70, you rode the CRF 50, and there was one that you liked better, and I let you pick which one you wanted to keep, and we were gonna sell the other one, remember? Which one did you decide that you liked better?
The SSR.
Yeah, you like the SSR? Do you remember why? What did you like better about it? Just the way it looked, or what?
It was faster.
It was faster. You noticed the power difference, right? I think also the suspension was better, and it was a little bit roomier too. Like CRF 50 was compact, the bars were lower, it was just a little bit harder to ride, huh? Okay. He's available for further testing. If anybody needs any other expert dirt bike tests done, Mason's happy to help. Okay, so Mason liked the SSR better because it was faster, it was easier to ride, and I think because the suspension had a lot more travel, the front and rear suspension was a lot more plush. The CRF 50, it's same thing with the TTR. We had one of those, they're just really stiff. There was just hardly any give in the suspension. So Mason ended up liking the SSR better. We kept it, and it just so happens that now he moved on to another bike. He's riding a Cobra 50, and we're doing a giveaway. We're giving away Mason's old SSR. It's been sitting in the garage collecting dust, so we're really close to giving it away. When we hit 20,000 subscribers, which we're about 200 subscribers away, so if you're seeing this video, you've got a little bit of time left. Go over to the other video, I'll put a link below, and it'll tell you exactly how you could enter to win the SSR 70 that was Mason's pick. We already said that the SSR was faster. Here's some footage of the drag race. Go! Okay. You didn't go into third gear, did you?
I did.
You were in third gear? You didn't, it sounded like you were in second gear, are you sure? Okay, who won?
Me. By a bit.
Okay, let's try it again.
Because I was slowly catching up.
3, go! Luke! It's funny in that shot, I think Luke had a little bit of a lead, so he starts looking over at Mason and unintentionally starts moving over on Mason, so Mason had to go off into the gravel. And it's funny because he's like 100 yards away, but I still am yelling at him. That just cracks me up. I don't know why I do that as a dad, but they obviously can't hear you. They're on a bike, they're 100 yards away with a helmet on. It's just human nature, so I just have to yell at them to do something and then shake my head at myself later as I'm editing. I'm glad you didn't crash on that one, Mason. Okay, so obviously it's a little bit harder than I thought to do that drag race test. They kept starting at different times. They're at different age riders at different skill levels. So usually they didn't start exactly the same, but I think you get the idea. Mason on the SSR won 3 out of 4 times. I think the one time he started catching up towards the end, and if the drag race was long enough, he probably would have won, just because the SSR 70 is definitely a little bit more powerful. Okay, here's my final review and my final thoughts on the 2 bikes. If you're in a position where you're looking for a pit bike and you're an adult and you're gonna put a lot of money and aftermarket parts into a bike, sure, go with a CRF 50 or 110 or whatever. But if you have a kid that's just starting out, he's just gonna be learning and then moving on, honestly, in my opinion, I would go with an SSR. Yes, they're not as reliable, they're not as solid, things are going to break, but the price difference will make it worth it. A brand new CRF 50 is at least $2,000, and I got the SSR 70 for under half of that. What I would do is take that $1,000 that you saved, set it aside so that when things break, you bend the bars, the triple clamp, whatever, you have that money set aside to replace it with something better than a CRF 50 stock anyways. So if it was me, I would take that SSR 70 and just let your kids beat the crap out of it. Don't expect any resale value afterwards. Don't expect to get anything for it when you're done, but just let your kids grow, learn, crash on it, beat the crap out of it, and basically run it into the ground and create a lot of memories. And videos too, make some cool videos out of it. Cool guys, thank you very much. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure some people disagree with me, that's fine. And again, thank you to everybody who subscribed. We're about to hit 20,000 subscribers any day now, which is killer. We really appreciate that. Somebody very soon is about to win the SSR 70. So if you haven't entered, hurry and go enter that giveaway before it's too late.